men and women have been beaten, tortured, and forcibly deported. The Russian Federation has violated Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. It has created an international conflict.
I stand before you as a Ukrainian Catholic priest.
La Fédération de Russie a violé la souveraineté et l'intégrité territoriale de l'Ukraine et la Crimée.
I'm a Buddhist monk from Sevastopol.
You realize if you listen to the entire speech that what that man is proposing is intervention based on nationality and linguistic background. On that basis, we ask you, Lord, to show your love and to increase love in our hearts for all those, even those with whom we disagree. And we ask you to overthrow all the plans, all the wiles of those who would breed hatred and violence in Crimea and throughout Ukraine and throughout the former Soviet Union. This we ask in the name of the one great God whom we worship today. And so today, I stand before you as a Ukrainian Catholic priest, one of the churches that has been able to live in harmony with all the churches, all the religions, with Jews and Muslims and non-believers, with Buddhists and Hindus, and all religions and faith in Ukraine since 1991. I stand before you and I appeal to you with the following request: that all of you and all of us do whatever we can to make it known to the world community that what is transpiring today in Crimea involves the overturning of the kind of harmony that has existed throughout Ukraine, including Crimea, since 1991, when Ukraine declared independence. Russians, Ukrainians, Jews, Tatars, all of the various nationalities and religions and races have lived in harmony there. Today, as a result of the events of the last several days, what has been occurring is the following. The old principle that led in part to World War I, and the even more diabolical principle that led to World War II, and that is the principle that somehow people should actually be divided and allowed to be in inimical camps on the basis of their nationality, their religion, or their race. Those of you who listened to the entire speech of President Putin several days ago realize, and I shudder when I recall his words. You realize if you listen to the entire speech that what that man is proposing is intervention based on nationality and linguistic background. On that basis, the 80 different national groups of the Russian Federation tomorrow can start agitating, illegally by the way, for separation. The Germans can start claiming a protectorate over German speakers in Switzerland. France can attempt to take over Monaco, and the list goes on and on and on. It is now that people are fleeing Crimea. It is now that Catholic priests are being detained, being put under house arrest. It is now that the Crimean Tatars fear for their livelihood with X's drawn on their doors. But we all know what happens when governments begin to put little signs either on people's doors or compel them to wear signs on their lapels. We ask you to pray, and we ask you to do whatever you can to influence the various leaderships of the world, especially our own leadership here on Parliament Hill, to protect the minorities of Crimea.
For more than 20 years, the Russian Federation illegally dispersed its passports to citizens of Crimea, pleading for the day when it could take over the peninsula and its exclusive economic zone. But this was not enough. In the past several weeks, the Kremlin imported thousands of its own citizens to vote in an illegal referendum. Elsewhere, genuine Crimean citizens voted under gunpoint. Most Crimean citizens belonging to the Ukrainian and Tatar minorities were not even given the opportunity to vote in the so-called referendum, which offered only the choice of joining Russia now or joining Russia later. In a typical Soviet communist-style election, more than 97% voted to have their land and society annexed by the Russian Federation. On 20 March 2014, the Ukrainian parliament held a session discussing human rights violations in Crimea. An estimated 300,000 Crimeans are now expected to flee their homes. In the past week, ethnic Tatars, one of the oldest Crimean nations, ethnic Ukrainians and Jews have had their homes vandalized. Men and women have been beaten, tortured, and forcibly deported. Many are missing, and now some have already been killed. The bodies of the dead show the intent of torture and murder. Ethnic cleansing is now taking place in the Autonomous Republic of Crimea. The Russian Federation has violated Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. It has created an international conflict and humanitarian crisis in Crimea.
20 ans, la Fédération de la Russie a distribué de façon illégale ses passeports aux citoyens de la Crimée, en préparation pour le jour où elle allait s'emparer de la péninsule et sa zone économique. Mais ce n'était pas suffisant. Au cours des dernières semaines, le Kremlin a envoyé des milliers de ses citoyens pour voter dans un référendum illégal. La plupart des citoyens appartenant aux minorités ukrainiennes et tatars n'ont même pas eu la chance de voter dans ce référendum. La Fédération de Russie a violé la souveraineté et l'intégrité territoriale de l'Ukraine. Elle a créé un conflit international.
I'm Slava Slysarenko. I'm a Buddhist monk from Sevastopol, practicing in Ottawa permanently. A fundamental principle of Buddhism is ahimsa, that is no violence. So I pray for peace and as possible non-violent resolution of crisis in Crimea and overall in Ukraine.
Now have a minute of silence for those who died in Crimea.
Святи.